Hello, my name is Gabriel Lugo. I'm from Forest City in North Carolina, as much as I can be from anywhere. My family was a military family, and we wound up settling there when I was about 7. My dad got out of the military, and we live on a little farm out there. And I've gone to Immaculate Conception Catholic Church in Forest City ever since I was 7 or 8. So when I was growing up, I would always talk about wanting to be a priest, and so my family definitely picked up on that. And they would repeat it back to me, and whenever people would talk about what I wanted to do, that's what it was. I wanted to be a priest. And then as I was growing up, I began to hear this and kind of forget that it had come from me first, and began to not want to do it anymore because it's something that felt being put on me or being expected of me. But then I wound up graduating high school early, and I had a little bit of a gap year. And it made me realize, I guess I actually have to figure out what I want to do with my life. And it put me in mind of remembering what I had always wanted to do. And I had never really wanted to do anything else. And then about that same time, my older brother went to seminary. And so seminary was very much on my mind and very present to me. And whenever he would come back, I would drive to Mass with him, we would go do things together, and I would always be asking him what he was doing at seminary, what he was studying in philosophy, how he was learning Latin or learning philosophy, and I would want to know what he was learning. And I'm sure he was always praying for me, because I visited seminary at his encouragement and then decided not to go to seminary. I know, right? Didn't work out so well. A couple months later was the beginning of Lent, and for Lent, starting on Ash Wednesday, I resolved to do a holy hour every day as my Lenten penance, which is something I picked up from Michael, my older brother. In the midst of this holy hour, I was reading Louis de Montfort's True Devotion to Mary, as well as Fulton Sheen's The Priest is Not His Own. So when you're reading a book about the priesthood in a holy hour, not many people do that. That'll get you. So Fulton Sheen and Our Lady definitely got me into seminary because it made me realize, particularly Fulton Sheen, looking at the priesthood and seeing what it was, and that is a total giving and sacrifice of yourself. And up to this point, everything that I'd ever done had been focused on me. I always would work my way through my school. It was all about moving on to the next accomplishment, to the next achievement, but then to have this presented to me as something totally other, to give yourself rather than to simply be thinking about yourself. And so a couple weeks into Lent, I actually received an email from Father Barone, the vocations director, inviting me to visit the seminary again. And the following week is when all the shutdowns happened. So he instead simply offered me the application. The thing about St. Joseph's that I've realized now looking back 4 years is that even though everyone that comes to seminary thinks they have a vocation, that's not the first focus of the seminary. You have to learn to pray first, because even though I had this desire to be a priest, I didn't necessarily know what it was. I didn't know who was calling me. And so by the end of my second year, through various books and counsels and just thinking about what it means to be a priest, I realized that, yes, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm made for. I want to be a pastor. I want to be a teacher. I want to be a father. All of those things that a priest is, I've fallen in love with our Lord. And I want to give myself entirely to our Lord. And He's offering me this priesthood as a way to satisfy these desires that are fulfilled even more so in the priesthood than in natural fatherhood. So people will ask, what will you miss about St. Joseph's? But I don't really have an answer for them, because there's not something about St. Joseph's that I'll miss. I will simply miss St. Joseph's, because it all really is one, the brotherhood, the way we have the sisters here to care for us. It's such a place of growth, so that I will miss it, but in such a way that knowing if I stayed, I would no longer be growing in the same way, because it's no longer the place for me. It's time to move on. There's so many things in the future that I have no idea about. Most of the things in the future I have no idea about. I don't know what the classes will be like at the next seminary. I don't know what the faculty will be like. I don't know what my classmates will be like. I just know there's a lot of things that are unknown, but I am looking forward to moving on because it's time to move on. I mean, if you're discerning the priesthood, and you've been thinking about it for a while, you just have to do it. Joining seminary is not becoming a priest. Graduating minor seminary is not becoming a priest. I tried not to enter seminary. I told them I wasn't applying, but then our Lord still got me. And I'm very grateful that I've been given that second chance. So if you're drawn to love our Lord in a deeper way, and you think that he's leading you by the way of the priesthood, then reach out to a vocations director, visit the seminary. And if you're uncertain, that's okay. You're not going to be certain, at least at the very beginning, and this is the point of all of this formation. And so if you want to be a priest, God's put that on your heart, and you need to answer it.